So up until this point in the course, we haven't really handled errors in a good way or in a central place in our application. What we did was to simply send back an error message as JSON in each route handler in case something went wrong, right? So that's basically what we're going to fix in this section. But for now, let's take a minute to just get a brief overview of error handling in Express. And we start by actually distinguishing between two types of errors that can occur: operational errors and programming errors. So operational errors are problems that we can predict will inevitably happen at some point in the future, and so we just need to handle them in advance. They have nothing to do with bugs in our code. Instead, they depend on the user or the system or the network. So things like a user accessing an invalid route, inputting invalid data, or our application failing to connect to the database. All these are operational errors that we will need to handle in order to prepare our application for these cases. You will also see the term exception being used instead of error, and while they are conceptually different, many people use the terms error and exception interchangeably. And I'm just going to call them errors in this course as well, in order to avoid confusion. Anyway, on the other hand, we have programming errors, which are simply bugs that we developers introduce into our code. Like, for example, trying to read properties from an undefined variable, using await without a sink, accidentally using a request.query instead of request.body, or many other errors really that we might make. So you know how it works, right? And they are really inevitable, but also more difficult to find and to handle. Okay, so it's important that you understand this crucial difference between operational errors and programming errors. So when we're talking about error handling with Express, we mainly just mean operational errors, because these are the ones that are easy to catch and to handle with our Express application. And Express actually comes with error handling out of the box. So all we have to do is to write a global Express error handling middleware, which will then catch errors coming from all over the application. So no matter if it's an error coming from a route handler or a model validator or really someplace else, the goal is that all these errors end up in one central error handling middleware, so that we can send a nice response back to the client, letting them know what happened. And so really, handling in this case just means sending a response, letting the user know what happened. But handling can also mean, in other cases, retrying the operation, or crashing the server, or just ignoring the error altogether. Sometimes that's just the best option. Now the beauty of having a global error handling middleware is that it allows for a nice separation of concerns. So we don't have to worry about error handling right in our business logic or our controllers or really anywhere in our application. We can simply send the errors down to the error handler, which will then decide what to do with them next. Alright? So with all that being said, let's now actually start implementing this.